Alrighty, today's NTI lesson is going to be on the angle of impact. Now, as you can see at the very bottom, you have all different types of angles of impacts that we're going to click through to make sure that you have an opportunity to see what happens to blood whenever you increase or decrease the angle. Now, this is your first angle, and obviously it's the largest angle. So it's at a 90-degree angle, so it's straight down. And what you would see is that there's not a lot of irregularities that are occurring with this blood droplet. So you definitely see some structures that form. So these are your spines that are forming here, and it forms a kind of a crown-like shape. Now, depending on the force of the 90-degree angle will depend on whether or not you have something called satellites. So satellites are a mass of blood that separates from the larger mass. So you can see on the very top one that there are satellites that are occurring here, 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 and then even up here as well. So satellites generally indicate the force of impact on a blood spatter. Now, as you get below 75, so we're looking at 70 degrees, now the blood begins to have some directionality so that you have an idea of where that blood came from. So spines begin to become more prominent on the side of the spatter opposite the angle of impact. So that if you have a knife swipe or you have some type of impact that is occurring that causes blood to go from this direction to this direction, you're going to start to see the spines elongate on the side where that away from the impact itself. Now we have a different type of structure that we start to see here, and that's called scalloping. And what that scalloping is that round curvature that occurs where we start to see that round curvature on one side, and then we start to see the spines and satellites that occur on the other side. So again, we can see with this angle of impact where the directionality of that impact had to come from. At 45 degrees, really that scalloping becomes much more apparent. We also start to see a lot more satellites occurring, so you can see here lots and lots of different satellites. Now I'm going to do a video where I start to drop different types of blood droplets from different heights. So that might be something that you're going to see on Friday. But at the same time, just keep in mind that the angle of impact is really, really important in trying to determine how that particular blood spatter was formed. Lastly is the 25-degree angle. Now the 25-degree angle is obviously the lowest angle or the greatest angle depending on how you look at it. But in terms of the 25-degree angle, you can start to see where we increase in length. So we've been increasing in length from 90 degrees all the way to 25 degrees. And so the elongation that is occurring is forms those different types of structures that we've already talked about. So the scalloping, the satellites, and also even some spines, even though those spines are not as prevalent as what we see in the other angles. So in this case here, we have the elongation that's occurring. We have that scalloping that occurs on that one side. We have the satellite that starts to separate from the particular larger mass. And then we have the spines that connect those two masses together. Alrighty, guys, if you have any questions about angle of impact, please let me know. Make sure that you answer the 6 questions found on Schoology. And if you have any questions, make sure to notify me on Teams.